Hi Team Malcolm here, I hope you are doing so awesome. These groups were built on believing in people relentlessly, and wherever I am, old groups, new groups, or even out on the street, that's what you're going to get. And that's why for about 5 years now we've been doing these Thoughts of the Week every Sunday evening, because there are very specific and obvious patterns between those that make it and those that don't. And we want to tell it to you right. Think about this for a moment. 2 pianos sat in a back room behind the stage at a famous concert hall. They were both in a bad state of repair, not just aged, but ill-maintained. They were both a work of art back in their day. Their sound was just incredible. Now a big new shiny piano soaks in that spotlight. In a moment of inspiration, the piano on the left said to the piano on the right, "Can you give me an A, please?" A piano tuner will tune the entire piano with a single tuning fork tuned to 440 Hertz, which on the piano is A above middle C. If the piano tuner can get A 440 Hertz right, they can get the entire piano right. The piano on the right, terribly out of tune as it was, obliged, and gave the piano on the left a very flat A. The piano on the left tuned to it, and in doing so, renewed hope that it might be put back out onto that big stage again. But it never was, and it couldn't figure why. After all, it was freshly tuned. The message is clear. Where do you get your counsel? The industries in which we are involved are filled with trainers and various people offering advice. Some of them are truly fantastic. Learn everything you can from them. But others are as out of tune as we are. And it's our job to know the difference, because we too could tune to an out-of-tune piano and thoroughly yet wrongly believe we're in tune and ready to hit that big stage, and we can't figure out why we're not. Maybe it's because the person you tuned to is just as out of tune as you are. Get in rooms where your greatest dreams are the current realities of others. In traveling, associating with, and being mentored by some truly phenomenal people over the years, it became obvious fast that there's a huge gap between commonly accepted teaching materials or methods and how the big names within any given industry make it. In July 2002, a very successful man told me in the Doubletree Lloyd Center Hotel in Portland, Oregon. He said, "Malcolm, if you want to be successful, take a look at what the rest of the world are doing and do the opposite." We then ran into an in-depth discussion on why it was the opposite, the foundation of which being that what everyone else is doing and claims to be the way forward statistically doesn't work. If it did, there'd be a lot more successful people around, yeah? And the answers came down to inadequate mentorship and people being unwilling to change or grow, even if they knew what it took. I remember many years ago at jazz school, to pass certain exams or assessments, occasionally we had to give answers that we already knew were incorrect. But if we gave the correct answers on the exam paper, they'd fail us. Have you ever been there? We laughed it off as a, tutor's name, pleaser. I was given a choice. I could learn music technology at a jazz school that literally had no music tech and no tutors that knew anything about it. One might need to understand how developed my own studio was at that point and still is today. But to this day, I have no clue what they teach in that course. I could take a required course called The Business of Music from tutors that had never owned nor operated a business before. Typically in that class, they discussed how the tutor drank his way across Europe. Or I could hunt out some big business owners and ask if they'd be willing to mentor me. I chose the latter, and it proved very powerful. But those that did those courses got the degree. They're qualified. They can show you a certificate to prove it. But in the real world, they have no clue why it's not working for them. Because they learned from tutors that didn't know either. They tuned to an out-of-tune piano. Go out of your way to find good mentors. Whatever the cost, pay it. It just so happened mine were on the other side of the world. If that's what it is, don't compromise the price. Pay it. Why? How much time do you want to waste restarting due to bad mentorship or bad opportunities? Do you really want to be led by people that, they might be loud, they might sound confident, they might sound like they know what they're talking about, but they don't know? Or would you rather get it right the first time? When I left high school, it was recommended I go to the university and study business. One day I drove to the university and found the professor's car park. And looking at what they were driving, it became obvious very quickly. They didn't know anything about big business. If they did, they wouldn't be driving that junk. Many will not understand you, operating so distant from the status quo or what their parents or advisors taught them. But truly successful people will applaud you because they know you're on the right road. Some will judge you because you're operating outside of their education. Your actions challenge everything that got them their degree. But we can't miss this most basic fact. It works. I've had countless young musicians with a brand new degree tell me, oh no, you can't do that. But then Dr. John out of New Orleans, a true musical legend of years gone by, he told me, it's good music, put it in. And I'm going to go with what the good doctor told me. Conversations I had with Lofty back in the day, for those that remember at 8.5 Hot Mum, directly contradicts what's taught in acting schools. Do I listen to an acting instructor who's seldom ever been on set, or do I listen to a kingpin of British comedy who entertained half the world through 8 seasons and 8 years on a popular sitcom? I've had the same in the business world, from people that have never run a business turning over 7 figures or more. They don't know. But my mentors, whose businesses turn over hundreds of millions of dollars, who live in 30,000 square feet mansions and pay cash for Gulf Streams, literally, teach otherwise. You think they might have a clue? Who are you going to listen to? Choose your mentorship wisely. Find mentors that have already succeeded well beyond anything you hope to achieve. Because in reality, they're the only ones that can get you there. Let them stretch you beyond your current self. If you're tuning to someone as out of tune as you are, that person has nothing to offer that you don't already have, right? Find incredible mentors and tune to them. Measure everything by infinite law, which is life's A for 40 hertz. A very influential man in history told his people, by doing so, others will see you as wise. And as we get infinite law mastered, watch everything else fall into alignment also.